It's late at night, and you're staring at your phone, scrolling through the same kind of messages, endless requests, constant demands, and yet not a single one asking how you're doing. You think back to the conversations you've had recently. Were they about your life, your struggles, or were they all about their needs, their drama, their world? You feel it, the exhaustion of always being the one who gives, who listens, who shows up. And yet, here you are, holding on, hoping for a change that never seems to come. In this episode, we're diving into the subtle yet glaring signs of someone who takes advantage of you without genuine care or concern. More importantly, we'll explore how to recognize these patterns, protect your peace, and cultivate relationships that truly uplift and support you. If you've ever wondered whether someone in your life is a true friend or just using you for their benefit, this episode is for you. Let's begin with the first sign. 1. When the effort feels one-sided. Have you ever felt like you're the one doing all the work in a relationship? You're always the one reaching out, making plans, offering help, or showing support, while the other person seems content to sit back and let you carry the weight. This imbalance is one of the clearest signs that someone may be using you rather than genuinely caring for you. Let's consider the story of Rachel, who had a friend named Tom. Whenever Rachel needed someone to talk to, Tom was often too busy or simply unresponsive. But when Tom needed advice, a favor, or a listening ear, he expected Rachel to drop everything and be there. Rachel began to notice that the friendship only seemed to work when it revolved around Tom's needs. She felt unappreciated and drained, as if her efforts were never reciprocated. One-sided relationships are exhausting because they lack the mutual care and balance that define healthy connections. While no relationship is perfectly equal all the time, there should be a give-and-take dynamic. If you constantly feel like the one doing all the giving while the other person only takes, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. The Stoics remind us to surround ourselves with people who contribute positively to our lives. Seneca wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This wisdom encourages us to seek relationships where both parties support and uplift each other, rather than allowing one-sided dynamics to persist. A common excuse for one-sided effort is that the other person is just busy or not good at keeping in touch. While this may occasionally be true, consistent patterns of neglect or selfishness are red flags. Someone who truly cares about you will make an effort to stay connected, even in small ways, because they value the relationship. Reflect on your own experiences. Are you the one always initiating conversations or making plans? Do they only reach out when they need something? When you're struggling, are they present or do they disappear? These are critical questions to ask when evaluating the balance of effort in a relationship. To address this imbalance, start by communicating your feelings. For example, you might say, "I value our relationship, but I've noticed that I'm usually the one reaching out or making plans. It would mean a lot if we could work toward a more balanced dynamic." How they respond can reveal whether they genuinely care or are only interested in the convenience you provide. Setting boundaries is another key step. If someone consistently takes without giving, it's okay to pull back and see how they respond. Do they make an effort to reach out, or do they let the relationship fade away? This simple action often clarifies their true intentions. Ask yourself, is this relationship enriching my life, or is it depleting my energy? True connections are built on mutual effort and care, not on one person constantly giving while the other takes. Recognizing one-sided dynamics empowers you to protect your time and energy, ensuring that your relationships reflect the respect and value you deserve. Surround yourself with people who appreciate your efforts and are willing to meet you halfway, because you're worth it. 2. Selective availability. They're only there. When it's convenient, imagine a friend who's always too busy to reply to your messages or make time for you, except when they need something. Suddenly their schedule clears and they're eager to connect. This pattern of selective availability is one of the most glaring signs that someone may be using you. It reveals a relationship driven by convenience rather than genuine care. Consider the story of Maya, a young professional navigating the early years of her career. She had a close colleague, Jake, who often sought her advice on work projects, leveraging her skills to improve his own performance. At first, Maya was happy to help, believing it strengthened their bond. But over time, she noticed a troubling pattern. Whenever Maya needed assistance, or even just a listening ear, Jake would vanish. Too busy, too distracted, or simply unresponsive. It became clear that their connection was rooted in what Maya could offer, not in mutual respect or support. This behavior isn't limited to friendships. It can appear in family dynamics, romantic relationships, or professional networks. Selective availability often leaves you feeling like a convenience rather than a priority. It's a transactional relationship where their engagement is dictated by their needs, not by genuine interest in your well-being. The Stoics and other philosophical traditions teach us to be wary of such imbalances. Epictetus advised, "Be discriminating about what images and ideas you permit into your mind." For relationships, this means recognizing when someone's actions don't align with their words. Similarly, the teachings of Confucius emphasize the value of reciprocity in human connections. He said, "What you do not wish for yourself, do not do to others." Relationships lacking this mutual respect are often unsustainable and damaging. To identify selective availability in your relationships, pay attention to patterns. Do they consistently show up only when they need a favor? Are they absent during your moments of hardship, but quick to call when they're in trouble? These signs are often subtle at first, but become glaring with time. The key to addressing this behavior lies in setting boundaries. For Maya, it meant learning to say no to Jake's constant requests, forcing him to either step up as a friend or fade away. Boundaries don't just protect your time and energy, they clarify who values you for who you are, not just what you can provide. Ask yourself, am I being treated as a priority or just an option? Selective availability isn't a sign of a healthy relationship. It's a red flag that should prompt reflection and, if needed, action. Life is too short to invest in relationships where your worth is measured by convenience. You deserve connections that thrive on mutual effort, care, and respect. 3. Lack of genuine interest in your life. Have you ever noticed someone nodding along while you talk, only to steer the conversation back to themselves? Or maybe you've shared something deeply personal, only to receive a dismissive response or awkward silence. When someone shows little genuine interest in your life, your feelings, goals, or experiences, it's a clear sign they may not truly care about you. Let's consider the story of Emily, a talented photographer who loved sharing her creative journey with her friend Mark. She would talk about her latest projects or the challenges she faced in her work, hoping for encouragement or advice. But Mark rarely asked follow-up questions or showed enthusiasm. Instead, he would redirect the conversation to his own achievements, leaving Emily feeling dismissed and unappreciated. Over time, she realized their relationship centered around Mark's needs, with little regard for hers. This behavior isn't just disappointing, it's draining. Relationships thrive on mutual curiosity and care. When someone isn't interested in your life, it signals that they value the connection only for what they can gain, not for who you are. The Stoics teach us to value authenticity and to be mindful of those who don't reciprocate our efforts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not what others say or do that hurts us, but our reaction to it. Guard your own perception and remain steadfast." When someone shows indifference to your life, it's important to recognize the imbalance and protect your energy. This principle echoes across cultures. The Buddhist concept of right speech emphasizes listening with genuine attention and responding with kindness. When this quality is missing in a relationship, it creates a shallow connection that ultimately leaves one party feeling undervalued. To spot this sign, reflect on your interactions. Do they ask about your day, your passions, or your challenges? Do they remember the little details you've shared, or do they quickly forget? Genuine interest shows up in the small things, like remembering your birthday, following up on a story you told, or simply giving you their undivided attention. Addressing this issue starts with communication. Emily, for instance, decided to confront Mark gently. She expressed how she felt unheard and suggested a more balanced way of interacting. While Mark initially resisted, their conversation opened the door to change. In some cases, though, it may become clear that the relationship isn't worth sustaining. Ask yourself, am I giving more care and attention than I'm receiving? Do they truly value me, or just the benefits of having me around? Recognizing a lack of genuine interest can be painful, but it's also empowering. It gives you the clarity to invest in relationships that uplift you rather than deplete you. True connections are built on mutual respect, curiosity, and care. Don't settle for relationships where you feel invisible. You deserve to be seen, heard, and valued for who you are, not just what you can offer. 4. Emotional manipulation. Playing with your feelings. Emotional manipulation is one of the most subtle yet damaging signs that someone is using you. These individuals have a way of twisting your feelings, making you question your worth, and even causing you to feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. Manipulation isn't always obvious. It often hides behind flattery, guilt-tripping, or shifting blame, but its effects can leave you emotionally drained and doubting yourself. Take, for example, the story of Lauren, who had a friend named Jack. Jack often praised Lauren when he needed her help, saying things like, "You're the only one who understands me," or "I don't know what I'd do without you." But whenever Lauren asked for support in return, Jack would claim he was too busy or accuse her of being selfish for expecting his time. Lauren constantly felt like she owed Jack something, even when his actions didn't reflect true care or reciprocity. This kind of manipulation plays on your emotions to maintain control. Manipulative individuals are skilled at identifying your vulnerabilities and using them to their advantage. They may guilt you into doing things you don't want to do, convince you that their needs are more important than yours, or even gaslight you into doubting your own feelings. The Stoics warned against giving others power over your emotions. Epictetus advised, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When someone uses emotional manipulation, they exploit your kindness, empathy, or sense of responsibility, creating a dynamic where they control how you feel and act. Recognizing this behavior is the first step to reclaiming your emotional independence. Manipulation often works because it's gradual. It starts small, with subtle comments or actions that make you feel obligated and escalates over time. You might hear phrases like, "After everything I've done for you," or "If you really cared about me, you would." These statements are designed to shift the focus away from their behavior and make you feel at fault. Other forms of manipulation include withholding affection, using your secrets against you, or creating situations where you feel you must constantly prove your loyalty. For example, they may intentionally ignore your boundaries, knowing you'll feel too guilty to confront them. So, how can you protect yourself from emotional manipulation? First, practice self-awareness. When interacting with someone, pay attention to how their words and actions make you feel. Do you often feel guilty, anxious, or pressured after speaking with them? Are their requests reasonable, or do they seem designed to benefit them at your expense? Second, set clear boundaries. Manipulative people thrive when there are no limits to what they can ask or expect. Be firm about what you're willing to do, and don't let guilt override your boundaries. Remember, saying no is a form of self-respect, not selfishness. Lastly, trust your instincts. If something feels off in your relationship, it probably is. The Stoics believed in trusting reason over emotions clouded by external influences. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Protect your mind from the influence of manipulative behavior, and don't allow someone else's tactics to dictate your feelings or actions. Ask yourself, am I being valued, or am I being manipulated? True relationships are built on trust, respect, and mutual care, not guilt, coercion, or control. Recognizing emotional manipulation and standing up against it isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about reclaiming your emotional freedom and surrounding yourself with people who genuinely care for you. 5. Ignoring your boundaries. One of the clearest signs that someone doesn't truly care about you is their disregard for your boundaries. Healthy relationships, whether friendships, romantic partnerships, or family ties, thrive on mutual respect. When someone repeatedly crosses the lines you've set, whether it's dismissing your need for space, ignoring your limits, or pressuring you into uncomfortable situations, it's a red flag that their priorities outweigh their respect for you. Imagine Emma, who values her personal time and has communicated this clearly to her friend Alex. Despite her requests for uninterrupted evenings to focus on her hobbies and recharge, Alex continues to show up unannounced or call persistently, expecting immediate attention. Whenever Emma tries to explain her boundaries, Alex brushes it off with excuses like, "I didn't think you'd mind," or guilt-tripping remarks like, "I guess I'm just not important to you." Over time, Emma feels drained and starts to question the sincerity of their friendship. Boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about protecting your well-being. People who respect you will honor your boundaries, even if it requires effort or adjustment. On the other hand, those who ignore them often do so because they prioritize their needs over your comfort and peace. The Stoics emphasized the importance of maintaining control over your life and protecting your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Enforcing boundaries is a way of asserting this power. It's not about being harsh or unkind. It's about recognizing your worth and ensuring that relationships add value rather than draining your energy. When someone ignores your boundaries, it often starts subtly. Small actions that might seem unintentional or harmless. Over time, though, these behaviors escalate, leaving you feeling unheard or even manipulated. For example, they might consistently interrupt your time off, dismiss your preferences, or pressure you into doing things you're uncomfortable with, like taking on tasks you've said no to, or discussing topics you've chosen to avoid. To address this, start by being clear and consistent about your boundaries. For instance, if you need time to yourself after work, communicate this calmly. I really value our time together, but I also need some quiet evenings to recharge. Let's plan for another day to connect. Observe their response. Someone who cares about you will respect your request without guilt-tripping or pushback. If the person continues to ignore your boundaries, it's crucial to enforce them firmly. This might mean limiting your interactions or re-evaluating the relationship altogether. Boundaries are not just about managing others' behavior, they're about teaching people how to treat you. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Your boundaries are entirely within your power to set and maintain. Ask yourself, do my boundaries feel respected, or are they frequently dismissed? People who care about you will value the limits you set as a reflection of your needs and well-being. Disregarding boundaries is a sign of self-centeredness, not love or care. By recognizing and addressing this behavior, you ensure that your relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding. True care means valuing not just the person, but also their space, comfort, and individuality. 6. Superficial connections that lack depth. A clear sign that someone doesn't truly care about you is when your relationship remains shallow and devoid of emotional depth. These connections often feel transactional, focused on surface-level interactions like casual chats or shared interests, but lacking genuine curiosity about your thoughts, feelings, and life experiences. While such relationships might seem pleasant on the surface, they fail to provide the mutual support and understanding that define meaningful bonds. Take the story of Daniel, a young professional who frequently met up with his colleague Ryan for coffee. Their conversations were always light, centered around work gossip or weekend plans. Whenever Daniel tried to open up about a personal struggle or share something meaningful, Ryan would quickly steer the conversation back to neutral topics, avoiding any depth. Over time, Daniel realized that while they spent time together, Ryan showed little interest in truly knowing him or offering emotional support. Superficial connections like this can leave you feeling unseen and unvalued. These individuals often avoid engaging with your deeper emotions or challenges because it requires effort, vulnerability, or empathy, qualities they may not be willing to offer. While there's nothing wrong with casual relationships, when all your interactions with someone feel shallow, it's a sign they may not genuinely care about you. The Stoics emphasized the importance of seeking depth and authenticity in relationships. Seneca advised, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. Superficial connections, on the other hand, neither uplift nor challenge you. They might fill a void temporarily, but they often fail to provide the growth and support you need. The lack of depth in these relationships becomes evident through their patterns. Do they ask meaningful questions about your life, your dreams, or your challenges? Or do they stick to safe, surface-level topics? Genuine care shows itself in small ways, like remembering a story you shared, following up on your struggles, or simply listening attentively when you speak. Another hallmark of superficial relationships is the absence of emotional reciprocity. When you share something vulnerable, do they engage with empathy and interest, or do they deflect and change the subject? True connections involve a balance of giving and receiving, not just in actions, but in emotional investment. Addressing this issue starts with vulnerability. Sometimes people don't go deep because they're unsure if it's welcome. Try steering the conversation toward more meaningful topics and see how they respond. For example, if you're discussing work, you might say, "Lately, I've been feeling really overwhelmed by these deadlines. Have you ever experienced that?" Their reaction will tell you whether they're willing to engage on a deeper level. If the connection consistently lacks depth despite your efforts, it may be time to reconsider its value. While casual relationships can serve a purpose, your closest bonds should offer more than surface-level interactions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Surround yourself with people who nourish your spirit, not just those who occupy your time. Ask yourself, does this person see the real me or just the version of me that's convenient for them? True care involves more than shared activities or polite conversations. It's about mutual curiosity, trust, and emotional support. Don't settle for relationships that leave you feeling invisible. You deserve connections that go beyond the surface, enriching your life with understanding, empathy, and genuine care. 7. Absent during your hard times. One of the most telling signs that someone doesn't truly care about you is their absence when you need them the most. It's easy to show up during good times, celebrations, fun outings, and moments of success. But true care is revealed in how someone responds when you're struggling. If someone consistently disappears during your low points or offers minimal support when you're in pain, it's a red flag that they may not value you as deeply as you deserve. Imagine Lily, who always made time for her friend Jason, celebrating his wins and being a constant source of encouragement. However, when Lily faced a difficult breakup, Jason was nowhere to be found. He gave vague excuses about being busy and only reached out weeks later, asking for her help with his own problems. Lily realized that their friendship thrived only when Jason was in need, or when the focus was on him. When the roles reversed, his absence spoke volumes. People who care about you don't need to be perfect or always have the right words, but they do make an effort to be there. Even a simple check-in, a kind gesture, or a willingness to listen can mean the world during tough times. When someone repeatedly fails to show up when you're struggling, it's a clear sign that their presence in your life may be more self-serving than supportive. The Stoics valued resilience and self-reliance, but also emphasized the importance of supportive relationships. Seneca wrote, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." True friends stand by you not just in joy, but also in sorrow, offering understanding and comfort without expecting anything in return. This principle resonates across cultures. In Japanese culture, the concept of kizuna refers to bonds of deep trust and support, especially in times of adversity. Those who truly care about you demonstrate kizuna through their willingness to share your burdens, not just your successes. To identify this sign, reflect on how people in your life respond during your challenges. Are they quick to make excuses or avoid the topic altogether? Do they offer only surface-level concern, like a casual text message, without following through with meaningful support? While everyone has their limitations, consistent absence during your hardest moments reveals a lack of genuine investment in the relationship. Addressing this behavior starts with honesty. If someone you care about has been absent, express how you feel. For example, you might say, "I've noticed that I haven't heard from you much during this difficult time, and it makes me feel unsupported." Their reaction can provide valuable insight. Someone who values the relationship will acknowledge their behavior and make an effort to improve, while someone who doesn't may dismiss or deflect your feelings. It's also important to assess whether the relationship is balanced. If you're consistently present for someone else's struggles, but find they're absent for yours, it might be time to re-evaluate their role in your life. As Marcus Aurelius advised, live not as though you were going to live 1,000 years. Waste not a moment. Your time and energy are precious. Invest them in people who reciprocate your care. Ask yourself, who shows up for me when it matters most? True relationships are built on mutual support and shared vulnerability. Those who disappear during your hard times reveal their priorities, and it's up to you to decide whether they deserve a place in your life. You deserve people who stand beside you in both the sunshine and the storm, offering the same care and loyalty you give to them. How to protect yourself from users and toxic relationships. Recognizing the signs of someone who uses you is just the first step. The next, and perhaps the most important, is learning how to protect yourself. Toxic relationships can drain your energy, shake your self-esteem, and leave you questioning your worth. But by adopting strategies rooted in self-respect, mindfulness, and clarity, you can safeguard your well-being and create space for healthier connections. First, it's essential to set and enforce boundaries. Boundaries are your way of communicating what's acceptable and what isn't in your relationships. If someone consistently ignores your limits, it's a clear sign they prioritize their needs over your well-being. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your boundaries protect your mental and emotional space, giving you the power to define how others treat you. For example, if a friend or colleague frequently demands your time without consideration for your own responsibilities, it's okay to say no. You might respond with something like, "I can't help right now, but I hope you find a solution." Being assertive about your limits doesn't make you selfish. It shows you value yourself. Next, pay attention to patterns. Toxic individuals often repeat behaviors such as guilt-tripping, emotional manipulation, or disregarding your needs. Recognizing these patterns helps you respond more effectively. For instance, if someone repeatedly makes you feel guilty for saying no, remind yourself that their reaction is about their expectations, not your worth. As Epictetus taught, people are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them. Refusing to internalize their negativity empowers you to protect your peace. Another vital step is practicing self-awareness. Toxic relationships often thrive because we ignore red flags or rationalize bad behavior. Journaling can be an effective way to reflect on your interactions and identify recurring issues. Ask yourself questions like, do I feel valued and respected in this relationship? Am I constantly giving more than I receive? Does this person respect my boundaries and time? Writing your thoughts can provide clarity and help you make more confident decisions. Surrounding yourself with a supportive community is another crucial safeguard. Toxic relationships can feel isolating, especially if the person manipulates you into believing they're your only source of support. Reach out to friends, family, or trusted mentors who uplift you and remind you of your worth. Positive connections act as a buffer against the draining effects of toxic ones. It's also important to learn the art of detachment. The Stoics emphasized the value of focusing only on what you can control. You can't change someone else's behavior, but you can control how you respond to it. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Detaching from the need to fix or please others liberates you from their influence, allowing you to focus on your own growth and happiness. If a relationship becomes too harmful, walking away is sometimes the best option. This can be challenging, especially if you've invested time and energy into the connection. However, staying in a toxic relationship out of obligation or fear only prolongs the harm. Remind yourself that letting go isn't a failure. It's an act of self-respect. As the Japanese proverb says, "Let go of what is weighing you down, and you will rise." Lastly, prioritize self-care. Toxic relationships can erode your confidence, but taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental well-being restores your strength. Whether it's through exercise, mindfulness practices, creative pursuits, or simply spending time in nature, nurturing yourself is essential for healing and moving forward. Ask yourself, am I surrounding myself with people who add value to my life or those who drain it? Protecting yourself from users and toxic relationships is not about shutting people out. It's about choosing connections that align with your values and enhance your well-being. You deserve relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and care, not manipulation or exploitation. Take the steps to protect your peace and prioritize the relationships that truly matter. Focusing on healthy relationships that uplift you. While identifying and addressing toxic relationships is essential, the real transformation happens when you actively focus on nurturing healthy relationships that uplift, inspire, and support you. Healthy connections are a source of energy and growth. They're built on mutual respect, genuine care, and shared values. These relationships aren't just about avoiding harm, they're about fostering joy and resilience in your life. Picture Jessica, a teacher who had spent years surrounded by people who drained her energy. She realized that most of her time was spent with colleagues and acquaintances who dismissed her ideas or took advantage of her kindness. One day, she decided to shift her focus. She began investing her energy in friends who celebrated her achievements, offered a listening ear during her struggles, and pushed her to grow. Over time, Jessica noticed a profound change, not only in her mood, but in her outlook on life. Healthy relationships share a few key traits. They're reciprocal, meaning both people contribute equally to the connection. They're supportive, offering encouragement in tough times and celebrating successes together. They're also honest, providing constructive feedback without tearing you down. These are the relationships worth prioritizing. The Stoics deeply valued the concept of meaningful relationships. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Loving and being loved by those who truly care for you is one of life's greatest privileges. When you focus on nurturing these relationships, you create a foundation of emotional stability and strength." Across cultures, the idea of fostering uplifting connections is universal. In African philosophy, the term Ubuntu encapsulates the belief that our humanity is deeply interconnected. I am because we are. Surrounding yourself with positive, uplifting people not only enhances your own well-being, but contributes to the shared growth of everyone in the relationship. To focus on healthy relationships, start by reflecting on your current connections. Ask yourself, who makes me feel valued and supported? Who listens to me without judgment and offers genuine advice? Who inspires me to become a better version of myself? Once you identify these individuals, invest your time and energy in those relationships. Reach out to them regularly, show appreciation for their presence in your life, and engage in activities that strengthen your bond. Healthy relationships also thrive on open communication. Be honest about your feelings and needs, and encourage the same from others. Transparency builds trust and prevents misunderstandings, ensuring that the connection remains strong and balanced. One crucial aspect of focusing on healthy relationships is setting boundaries with those who don't contribute positively to your life. This doesn't mean cutting everyone out. It means reallocating your energy to people who genuinely uplift you. As Seneca advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. By choosing to surround yourself with supportive individuals, you create an environment that fosters personal and collective growth. Lastly, don't forget to nurture the relationship you have with yourself. Healthy connections with others start with self-respect and self-awareness. Practice self-care, celebrate your achievements, and treat yourself with the kindness you deserve. When you value yourself, you naturally attract and maintain relationships that reflect that value. Ask yourself, am I dedicating my time to relationships that uplift me or ones that drain me? Shifting your focus to healthy connections isn't about creating a perfect social circle. It's about choosing quality over quantity. By prioritizing relationships that are rooted in mutual care and respect, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who inspire you to grow, celebrate your wins, and stand by you in tough times. These are the connections that truly make life richer and more meaningful. As we've explored in this episode, recognizing the signs of someone who doesn't truly care about you is crucial for protecting your energy, your peace, and your well-being. Relationships should be a source of support, growth, and mutual respect, not a one-sided drain on your emotional and mental resources. It's not about cutting people off at the first sign of trouble, but about learning to value yourself enough to set boundaries and prioritize healthy connections. Remember, true relationships are built on balance. They're marked by genuine care, shared effort, and a willingness to be there for each other through both the highs and the lows. If you've identified any of these signs in your life, it's a chance to reflect, adjust, and ensure that the relationships you nurture are ones that uplift you rather than weigh you down. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." The same can be said about the relationships you keep. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who respect you, and who value the unique light you bring to the world. As we close, ask yourself, are the people in my life adding value to my journey, or are they holding me back? You deserve to invest your time and energy in connections that nourish your soul and align with your values. Thank you for joining me today. If this episode resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who might need this message. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and continue on this journey of self-awareness and growth with us. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you are worthy of relationships that truly honor and uplift you.